All right, we just saw some pretty good games this weekend. And I must say, things are getting a lot more interesting. First up, number 2, Ohio State just lost. And not only did Ohio State lose, Miami took an L. Clemson took an L. Tulane took an L. So now let's figure out who will most likely go to the college football playoffs. That's not clear yet. But what is clear is who's going to go to the conference championship games. If we just look at rankings, it's pretty simple. However, we must look at the standings because a lot of teams took L's outside of the conference, but the conference standings is more important than the rankings. Stick with me. First up, we have the SEC. Texas and UGA are going to match up. And honestly, I feel like if Georgia loses this game, they're probably going to be out. So this is a must win for Georgia. And they did beat Texas already, which makes me think if Texas loses twice, should they go? Now, according to ESPN, the conference standings has Indiana and Oregon playing for the Big Ten. However, I'm not sure how this works. I thought Penn State would be playing Oregon. This brings up a really interesting situation. If Indiana loses to Oregon, if they play in the Big Ten championship game, are they out? Potentially. After this week, I'm assuming Indiana's probably going to be ranked somewhere around 8 or 9. Maybe higher, maybe up to 7. With a loss by a large margin to Oregon, are they done? Or if they lose by a little bit, can they still get a bid? There's a lot of things unclear with this new system. Miami, the third best team in the ACC, according to standings, will not participate in the ACC championship game, but they have one of the best records in the country. And it's to my knowledge that they're going to finish in the top 12. Every game's a shootout with them, and they are 10-2. Now, if Clemson goes in this game, the ACC championship game, they are cooked if they don't win. Now, if SMU wins or loses, I think SMU goes in no matter what. But if SMU gets blown out by Clemson, SMU is done. Or maybe they're not done. We do not know. The committee will let us know, though. Now, this is one of the most interesting conferences. Arizona State, they should probably go to the playoffs, but they're ranked very low. So, Arizona State and BYU are in must-win situations in the conference game. Now, I actually don't know who's going to go. The Big 12, I think they have to make a points decision, and I didn't really look at the scenarios. I know Texas Tech won. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's Iowa State or BYU. But let's run these scenarios. If BYU beats Arizona State, they go. Pretty much the only way for anyone in the Big 12 to go to the CFP is by winning the championship game or getting an at-large bid. I think there's a small, slim possibility that they give an at-large bid to either Iowa State or Colorado. And it's probably going to be because the SEC is only going to have 3 teams, maybe 4. Let's do the math here. There's 12 teams. You're going to have 1 team from the Mountain West, potentially 2 teams from the ACC, maybe 1. And then you'll probably have 4 teams from the Big 10. So let's look at it like this. The Power 2 conferences, that's how it's structured right now. SEC is going to have 4 to 3, 3 to 4. The Big 10 is going to have 3 to 4 teams. Then you have the Big 12 and the ACC, possibly 2 or 3 teams. My guess, 2 from the ACC and maybe 2 from the Big 12. And then that leaves 1 team from the Mountain West. And depending on how the other conference games go, maybe another G5 team. They've kind of tapped the Mountain West to be the automatic team to go, but what about the AAC? Memphis looked good. They look good. If they play again looking good, I mean, should they go? I'm going to be honest. The fact that Notre Dame destroyed Army, that might kill that conversation, to be honest. But, I mean, they looked good last week against Tulane. But yeah, this conference might be cooked because of that loss. Now, the conference we all want me to talk about, the Mountain West. Now, this is an interesting conference. We have Boise State and UNLV. If you watched this game a couple of weeks ago, maybe last month, sometime last month, right? UNLV could have won this game. UNLV is playing with a backup quarterback, and Harris has been balling. Yes, Genety is amazing at running back, and he's running for 100 plus every game. But if they lose to UNLV, what happens? If it's by a lot, who knows? UNLV was up in that game during the season, regular season by a lot. And here's another question. Does Colorado State play Boise State? As crazy as that sounds, maybe they should play. Look, UNLV already lost. They had their chance. Colorado State has not played Boise State. I don't know how Mountain West configures who goes to the actual conference game. I don't know what's the deciding factor. I'm just looking at the standings and where they're ranked in these current standings. There's a lot to unpack, and we are going to have to wait and see what happens.